fully on board. No problem about that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just give me a second. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're well. It's Mr. Ali here with his Community Wellbeing Show, coming to you from the studios of Radio Aapki Awaz. I hope you're well. And as you can see now that the temperatures are dropping, so please dress appropriately. And also, if you are under the weather, please make sure you have plenty of liquids and fluids to get you through the transition period from the summer that we've had or not had. Some may argue to where we are now. But without any further ado, because of the last 2 weeks, we have talked about and seen nothing but what's happening in the Middle East, in particular over in the Gaza and the West Bank, and also in Israel. Today I have two guests. First one I have is a Palestinian brother by the name of Marwan Dervish, and then I have a brother named Malik that I will bring on in about 10 minutes time. First of all, a huge and a warm welcome to you, brother Marwan. I hope you're well.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem at all. So without any further ado, please, Marwan, if you can give us the latest update, what is happening on the ground and the streets of Gaza?
Yes, well, I'm sorry to bring you a very, very sad news,
Oh my God.
my brother. In the last hour or so, there is a confirmation that an airstrike hit a hospital in Gaza City, the Baptist Hospital or Al-Ahli Hospital. It's a Christian hospital.
Yes.
Well, the only Christian hospital in Gaza City. This hospital is become a safe space for people to come and stay in the surroundings of the hospital as a form of protection. It is estimated that about 4,000 to 7,000 people just was in the area, in the car park around the hospital, because they believe that it will be a
safe
space. And this hospital being hit, until now there is no clear confirmation how many people being killed. The Palestinian Ministry of Health and the news agencies, they are talking about 500 to 1,000 people killed in this airstrike.
In that one single airstrike on that hospital, it is estimated 500 to 1,000 sick people that were requiring medical treatment may have been killed as a result of the airstrike by the IDF in the last hour. Wow.
Yes, you are right, and this is obviously in total violation of humanitarian law and international law, which is give protection to civilians,
yes,
prevent from attacking hospitals, prevent from attacking institutions.
From Geneva law, United Nations resolutions, every possible law.
Every possible law. I was going to say, earlier that 21 ambulance workers and health workers being killed, but when I heard the news in the last hour, it's become absolutely a disaster. It is obviously a genocide against the Palestinians, the civilians. The aim was really they wanted to push the Palestinians outside of Gaza, to the border with Egypt.
Yes, to the south.
To the south, to create, they wanted they wanted Gaza empty.
Yes.
From residents. And the people in Gaza refused to do that. They stayed in their homes. I have been in contact during the day with, we are working with a group of young people in Gaza, and I am just quoting you one of the things that in the last hour, one of our youth said. He said, and I'm quoting, "We don't want food, we don't want water, we want you to stop this genocide." So the feeling is that they want people outside to put pressure on their government and their leaders to stop this killing.
Yeah, no, it is very grim news. We've just heard from Marwan that the hospital called Ahli, which is the only Christian hospital, and people were gathering there, so it's supposed to be a safe place. But it seems that nothing is safe, Brother Marwan, in Gaza. Whether it's a school, whether it's a government building, or whether it's a hospital, everything is fair game as far as you can see.
No, I agree with you totally. There is no safe space, no safe place where people could go. They had, I mean, it is, again, this is not confirmed, but further south in Khan Yunis, the news that a school being hit.
School as well.
But this has happened earlier in the last few days. We know that
Yes.
schools being hit. There are about 300 United Nations facilities, which is really to give services to the refugees.
Yes.
Schools, health centers, and these facilities become the place where people stay.
So-
We are talking like few thousand people, 6,000-7,000 people staying in a school to try and protect themselves and be safe.
So
The
for-
same as about the hospital. The Ahli Hospital is about a mile from Shifa Hospital, which is another hospital in the center of Gaza.
Sure.
So this is a very, very grim news to us. But I hope that this will be a wake-up call.
A wake-up call.
Well, first of all, for some of the Arab countries, and they will be saying, at least to their ambassadors,
Yeah.
to the Israeli ambassadors, to go, and they will be putting more pressure on the American, to Biden, who's arriving tomorrow,
Yes.
to the region.
So, Brother Marwan, the question is, for the last 4 days, the Israeli government, Netanyahu and his defense minister, have been asking the people in the north of Gaza for you to move south. Why hasn't that been heeded when you know the bombs were going to come in? How can the sick people in the hospital leave, Brother Marwan?
Yes, well, that's what I think. I think it is obviously and it's clear that the plan is to an ethnic cleansing, a plan to remove the Palestinian. I mean, one of the Israeli ministers was talking about Palestinian as not human.
Animals, you use the word animals, that's right.
Yeah, so if you say that about any, doesn't matter, Palestinians, Lebanese, Pakistani,
Yes.
if you make a statement like this, you are justifying the killing, you are justifying a genocide. And this is what we really need to be aware of, that this is coming from the top of the Israeli government policies.
Marwan, can I ask, do people on the ground feel that this is a way for them to be squeezed out of Gaza? Do they feel that they are being ethnically cleansed? This is a genocide that is going to be done on their people.
You see, the Palestinian population in the whole of Palestine, the West Bank, Gaza, and 48 is almost half of the total population with the Israeli Jewish population.
Yes.
So, the Ben Gvir, who is a racist, right-wing
Yes.
minister, and others were publicly saying we want to remove the Palestinians from these areas.
Yes.
So, for us, it's not news in a way because they said it publicly in meetings in the government, and that's really what would have been the aim, is to push the Palestinians to the south,
Yes.
to Egypt. And I want to say, this is to recognize that Egypt actually refused this position. They didn't open the borders, and they refused to create another sort of, 1 million refugee camp in Sinai.
Yeah.
So I think that, and again, Jordan did say publicly that they will refuse any way of pushing Palestinians to the Jordanian side. So that is the situation at the moment. The attempt is to ethnically cleanse and remove the Palestinians from their land.
So brother,
Really, this is back to the policy that we want the land of Palestine without the people of Palestine.
Sure, I understand. So, Brother Marwan, so we know that the Israeli government has now had complete siege, complete blockade of all borders in Gaza. So whether it's food, water, electricity, medical supplies, that can't go in or out. Why don't the Egypt government open their borders, allow a humanitarian channel, or are they being pressured by another country?
There's possibly been some pressure on Egypt. We know that the relationship between Egypt and the USA,
Yes.
and America,
Yes.
but also possibly, they were talking about opening the border for Palestinians who have dual citizenship to be able to leave. But a few days ago, Israel bombed the road,
Yes.
bombed the crossing between in Rafah crossing. I think that it is really a demand that Egypt should open the border and let the humanitarian aid
Absolutely
coming through to particularly medicine and food. The people who are staying in the hospital, they will have no water, no health facilities,
no
food, and the risk, my brother, that this is going to be an outbreak of a disease, an infection in the whole of Gaza Strip.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A couple of points. I know you, Brother Marwan, you have to go. There is a lot of support and comments coming from the listeners of Radio Aapki Awaz. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. Imran Hussain, Israel knows no limits in its thirst for vengeance. How does Keir Starmer justify Israel defending itself by killing innocent Palestinians at Al-Ahli Baptist Hospital? The interesting question is, what excuses will Labour councillors make for not having to resign from their post? He follows this up by saying, my message to the Palestinians is do not despair and hold fast and strong. You will be victorious. Look them in the eye and do not blink. The Ummah is with you robustly with a resolve that is steadfast, even though its leaders may be buckling. So, Brother Marwan, what can we do in the Western world as humanitarians, as Muslims, as non-Muslims? What can we do to support people in Gaza?
First of all, if there is any protest, in your area, go and participate. If you have a councillor, ring them and tell them this is not acceptable.
Yes.
We will refuse to accept that the Palestinian will be massacred in this way.
Yes.
Protecting Israel does not mean to massacre the Palestinians,
yes.
to have a genocide in Gaza. If you have an MP, ring the MP, send letter. Don't, we have the options to influence, and we can do that. And there are other organizations like Islamic Relief and other organizations who are actually organizing and supporting humanitarian aid in Palestine, which anybody would like to, that will be definitely appreciated. But I am actually interested more in the political pressure.
Sure.
As this person I talked to today, he said, we don't want food and drink. We want you to stop this genocide, and that can be done. The British government yesterday in the Security Council, they vetoed
That's right.
a proposal to put a ceasefire. The American also vetoed that UN, that Security Council. This is the type of pressure that would be. Joe Biden going tomorrow to Israel. What is he going to do? He gave already a blank check.
Further embolden them. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And Brother Marwan, so have you got any family and friends there? What do you hope over the next 2 or 3 days? What do you expect out of this very dire situation? And the other question I have to ask is Palestinian Hamas, and is Hamas Palestinian? Because at the moment they want to destroy Hamas. And is that something that you agree with, or do you think that they were justified in what they did on the 7th of October?
First of all, I want to say that I want an end to the violence. No civilians, and I want to be clear, not an Israeli or Palestinian should be killed. The second thing, the Hamas has, it is an ideology, they have supporters, they have institutions. You can't kill a political movement.
Yeah.
You can't really do that. I work myself, I teach and lecture on this topic in the university, and the only way is through negotiation, through dialogue, through political settlement. My brother, we know what is the root causes of this problem.
Yes.
It's the occupation.
Yeah.
It's the oppression. It is the injustice. It's a violation of basic rights of people. And everybody, anywhere in the world, will not accept that. So what was in Gaza, it was something that's been simmering for more than now 10 years.
Yes.
We have normalization with the rest of the Arab world as if there is no problem. And until this explosion happened on the 7th of October.
Yes.
And that obviously was a terrible thing, but it was also a call to all of us that a political solution is the way forward, not a military solution.
Yeah, no. Thank you, Brother Marwan, for your time today. Do you want to give a lasting message to all our listeners and viewers before I know you have another interview that you have to go on?
As I said, we need support, solidarity, right to the people that that they have an influence, participate in demonstration. There's demonstration on Saturday in Birmingham and one in London. So come and let your voice be heard.
Fantastic. Brother Marwan, will you be there on Saturday?
I will be there on Saturday.
Fantastic, yes, because what we will do is, I know there are a group of people and activists who are trying to lead a march from Alam Rock Road to all the way to city centre and be part of the larger demonstration as well. So that is being organised by young people and humanitarians from the Alam Rock and the surrounding area as well.
That's an excellent, that is really, really very good news that you just shared. That there will be a march start from Alam Rock to
city centre.
City centre. This is the voices that we want to hear, the voices of young people who will not accept this form of injustice, this form of, of genocide.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Brother Marwan, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I wish you all your best in your endeavours, and I hope your family and friends are safe in Gaza.
Thank you, my brother. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. That was Brother Marwan Dervesh, who kindly took out 25 minutes to share us with the latest facts that are on the ground as well. So there is a demonstration, as he mentioned, and I will also share that with you again at the end of the show. We are now also very fortunate to have another heavyweight that is an expert around Palestine and what is happening. It is Brother Naeem Malik from the West Midlands Palestine Solidarity Campaign as well. A warm welcome. I think this is your second or third time now on our show, on our radio show.
Possibly the third time.
Second, third time. Warm welcome to you as well. So first of all, Brother Naeem, you must have been extremely busy for the last two and a half weeks. How has it been? Do you want to just summarize your initial thoughts, your first 2 weeks of feelings, where we are with things? Give us a bit of a up-to-date, please.
Well, I think, first of all, the situation in Palestine has actually been getting worse for some time. Already in 2023, more Palestinians have been killed than ever before, in both, particularly in the West Bank and in Gaza.
Yes.
So I think the events that took place in Gaza on Saturday, a week ago, last Saturday, were, well, it was very surprising what happened to us. But I think at the same time we saw that it is going to lead into a massacre, and then we organized a demonstration on Sunday, the next day, and over 2,000 people attended that demonstration in the city centre in New Street, in the High Street, opposite the Barclays. But I think, so that was the first thing. The second thing is we saw was that as soon as Israel started attacking Gaza, every Western leader stood up and said, we stand by with Israel and we will support it in whatever action it takes. It did not say that it needs to be a measured action that Israel needs to take. It needs to be something that complies with international law. It didn't say that. And I think what we expect from our leaders now is that they should call for an immediate ceasefire, which is what the Security Council or some people in the Security Council are trying to do. But both our government and the United States are actually
vetoed that, didn't they? That's right. Vetoed it as permanent
in
members.
fact, what they are doing is they are not helping bring about peace.
Yes.
They are helping to fuel the conflict. They are helping to fuel the fire that is burning in Palestine. Now, I think the people in Gaza, that what they are suffering at the moment, it is incumbent on everybody
Yes.
to actually call for an immediate ceasefire. There should be a humanitarian opening that somebody like the Red Cross should be able to go in and make sure that every civilian gets all the protection it needs. Because there is a problem with medicine, and I think I was listening to the Newsnight program yesterday, and there was a doctor who was talking about it from Gaza itself. He works in reconstruction, because when people get
Yes.
hurt in the war, their bodies have to be rebuilt, and that's what he does.
Yes.
So he is facing a very severe conditions in that hospital, and he was saying that the water pressure is fallen to such an extent they cannot use that water to disinfect their instruments.
Yeah.
Right? To sanitize them and everything else.
Absolutely.
So I think that is really, really bad situation that's happening. So I think the immediate requirement is all the Western leaders should actually insist that there is a ceasefire, should insist there should be a corridor open for people to get aid, both medical aid, food. I mean, people are actually searching, looking for food, looking for water.
Yes.
People haven't drank for a day. So I think
they're drinking seawater at the moment.
Drinking seawater.
Drinking seawater.
And they are drinking water which is actually contaminated from the small wells. So I think that situation actually first has to be resolved. So Biden is going to the region, as Marwan said earlier, and I think he needs to bring that to the attention of the Israeli government.
I think he's going to be more incendiary. He's going to embolden the Prime Minister of Israel, and what you'll see is a full-scale invasion into Gaza, knowing that he has the world's only superpower giving them green light and complicitness in going and doing a full ground, sea and air invasion. So, Brother Naeem, so what I and a lot of people have been appalled by is that there seems to be a complete consent by the government for there to be indiscriminate bombing of the whole of Gaza. And if there have been innocent civilians that have lost their life, that just seems to be collateral damage and no remorse and no condemnation has taken place, and no one is calling that out. It's almost as though that is just going to be accepted and swallowed up by the whole Western countries as well. So it's almost like, you are giving them green light to almost do ethnic cleansing and genocide of the whole of certainly the northern part of Gaza.
Yeah, well, I think the Israeli objective has always been, as I think Marwan said in his interview as well, is that they want the whole of Palestine, or as much of the land of Palestine as possible, but without any Palestinians.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the current administration, the current government in Israel has said that much anyway. They have said to the Palestinians that you better go somewhere else, or if you want to stay here, you will be staying here as second-class citizens.
I was listening to the radio, and Likud Party, who's part of a coalition of the Israeli government, is in their charter to say that the Palestinians do not deserve and cannot have their own land for where they can rule and govern from and call this is their homeland. So it's in their charter, Likud Party, and we know how right-wing that party is, and they are and they are part of the government as well. So which is just a very bad situation. It's almost you're comparing a democracy like Israel to Hamas, because Hamas is also on its charter that they want to see the destruction of Israel, but Likud Party is saying that we don't want no Palestinians to be part of any homeland or have for them to govern or call home.
Yeah, I think that is, you're exactly right. That's what they want to do. I mean, I think we didn't call South Africa when it was an apartheid state a democracy. It wasn't a democracy.
Yes,
it was an apartheid state. That is exactly what Israel is. Over 50% of the population it controls through either in West Bank, which they occupy, or in Gaza, which they actually have under siege.
Yes,
or in Jerusalem, don't have democratic rights that the Israelis have.
Yes.
So I think that's that overrules the fact that it is a democracy. It is not a democracy.
I have been watching the TV and news and also a lot of the documentaries. What do you say to those people, Brother Naeem, where they say that we have a lot of Arabs living in Israel, we have a lot of people from the African countries living in Israel, they are able to vote, they're able to go about business. What do you say to them when you say that this is an apartheid state?
I think the thing with the Palestinians who are actually living in the pre-1948 borders is still not treated as equal citizens, because according to the Israeli law, the exclusive right of self-determination is only restricted to the Jews. So they don't have that. There are communities which would not allow a Palestinian to live in that community.
Yes.
So I think there is already a discrimination. So it is actually even within the 1958 borders, which Israel so proudly always says that we have got members in the Knesset who are actually Arabs. They are treated not as equals, but they're treated as second-class citizens. And there is a lot of discontent in that part of Palestine as well. I think one of the things they're trying to do is to say you have Palestinians who come from different parts of the world are different. They're not. They're all Palestinians. They all live in the Palestinian land. And they all want to be living as equal citizens. I think if you come to it in the final analysis, what the Palestinians are asking for is to be able to live as equal citizens in a land in which they live, and a land which they have lived for hundreds of years, thousands of years.
So we have come to now a situation where that the Palestinians do want to have a two-state solution, but it's the Israeli government that don't want to agree to a two-state solution.
Yeah. Well, I think the Israeli government is aims always to get as much land as possible. They were never going to negotiate a peaceful settlement. Their intent was always to have as much of it as possible and get the Palestinians out of it. And I think what they're using this current situation at the moment, and they have said so. They have said to the people in Gaza, the Palestinians who are living in Gaza. I don't want to say Gazans because they are actually Palestinians.
Yes.
Because 75% of the people living in Gaza are not from Gaza. They are refugees who were pushed out of Palestine in 1948. And then there were refugees, some of them had come in 1967 when the West Bank was occupied. So I think they are that's why it's so densely populated. Because otherwise it would have its normal population. And I think what they are asking them to do now is to move into Sinai, where I think the Prime Minister of Israel has actually said he will build them a tent city.
Oh wow! Wow!
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now I think Palestinians know from their experience that when they go out, they are never allowed back.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
They call them infiltrators then. So they've been pushed out of their own land. And they have actually been threatened. We saw the bombings in the last week. That was done deliberately to intimidate the people in Gaza so that they move out.
Yes, okay. Yes.
And so it is ethnic cleansing. It is genocide because they want to destroy the Palestinians.
No, very dire situation indeed that we are, seeing and watching and reading what is happening, and all sane-minded people want a ceasefire and an end to the fatalities and end to all the bombing that is taking place as well. The same question to you as well, Brother Naeem. When we heard the news on the 7th of October, when you saw the Hamas militants going in, and raiding that particular part of Israel, the kibbutz, I think they called it, what was your initial feeling? Did you think now that this is a bad mistake by Hamas militants because now they are going to, give them the green light to come and invade Gaza? What was your immediate thoughts that went through your head?
Well, I think first of all, you see, no civilian should actually suffer in any war. And I think basically my first reaction was that it is actually going to impact the Palestinians in Gaza much more heavily. And I think through no fault of their own. And I think that's because we have allowed this whole situation to simmer for such a long time, where the Palestinians are being killed on a daily basis. They have been ethnically cleansed in the West Bank for some time now, from East Jerusalem for some time now. So I think, it's because it was so many things were happening in Palestine, particularly in 2023, something like this was anticipated because, you can't continue to oppress people and then expect nothing to happen.
Yeah, no.
So I think, it's we should not actually be attacking the civilians, both in Israel or in Gaza. And I think that's something where the Western leaders should take a lead. They should ask for an immediate ceasefire.
We've had a lot of Western leaders showing the support for Israel to defend themselves and have a right to defend themselves, irrespective of how many militants they kill and how many civilians that they kill. And what we haven't seen is, and they've been conspicuous by their silence, which is deafening, are the Arab countries. We've not really heard any real statements either way or anything, but just silence. Why is that? Why do you think the immediate Arab countries, which are naturally going to be affected by any kind of a fallout by this invasion, why are they so quiet?
Well, I think, they have actually spoken up now because Jordan has said that they are not going to take any refugees. Egypt has said that it's not going to open its borders unless there is a humanitarian corridor provided for the people of Gaza. So I think they have stood up for the Gazans. And I think particularly among the public, there has been huge demonstrations in most parts of that world in Saudi Arabia, in Egypt,
Yes.
everywhere there, and I think the the powers that be are actually quite mindful of how their population would react if they didn't stand up for the
Yes.
people in Gaza. So they are beginning to do that. But I think they are not in the power to do it as much as United States and Britain, for example, are in. See, so for our Prime Minister Sunak to say that he stands by Israel no matter what it does
Yes.
is just not acceptable. And for our representatives here, they need to start speaking for the people of Gaza. They need to start speaking for peace and justice. That's what we would look for them to do. I mean, a lot of the councillors I know in Birmingham, they would have been on our marches in 2014, 2012 when Gaza was under attack. But I don't think they will be on our marches now.
They definitely won't, because I have seen some communication, shall we say, whereby the Labour Party Central HQ have strongly advised all elected members not to go to any demonstrations, not to post anything on social media with a Palestinian flag or paraphernalia, and not to give any kind of interviews lending their support away to the Palestinians, away from Israel as well. So I will be hugely surprised to see anyone, unless the position changes, on this weekend's marches from the Labour Party as well. We have already seen a number of local elected members from the Labour Party resigning because of the Keir Starmer's stance, whereby he agreed with the Israeli government of withholding electricity, water, food, medicine, which is in contravention of the Geneva Convention and also United Nations resolutions as well. So what's your thoughts about our elected members in Birmingham, which are majority from the Labour Party, not showing their support, not coming to attendance in these demonstrations?
First of all, just about Keir Starmer. I mean, Keir Starmer claims to be the international human rights lawyer. All right, and for him to come out and say stopping water, electricity, and fuel and medicine to the civilian population in Gaza is not against international human rights law, he's just
he's smoking something, isn't he? He's smoking something.
It just can't be true. I mean, what's the whole point of international rights or human rights law and everything else if it is not going to protect the civilians against armed aggression? So I think that's one thing. The second thing is that there's no reason why our councillors should not. I mean, particularly in Birmingham, for example, they decided that they were going to, put the colours of the Israeli flag on the library at the request of the leader of the council. Okay. So this is just so one-sided. It's unbelievable. Why shouldn't there be a Palestinian flag? Because they have suffered a lot more, even in the last 10 days. And they have been suffering for what this war has been going on for at least 75 years. And in fact, it is probably more than a 100-year war because it started immediately after the First World War.
No, absolutely. So the studio number is 0121 682 8142. If anyone wishes to get involved directly with our guest, Brother Naeem Malik from the West Midlands Palestine Solidarity Campaign, alternatively continue to post your comments on the feed as well. So we have Brother Fiaz, how are you? Hope you're well. Brother Ayub, Brother Amjad as well. Brother Fiaz, this is not a war, it's another genocide with the backing of colonial allies. So a lot of sentiments around that particular arena as well. So I just want to get your thoughts about having that siege, blocking water, medicines, because you are now targeting innocent people who are reliant on Israel for its survival. What do you think is going to happen if another few more days this blockade continues?
Well, I think there are going to be a lot more lives lost as a result of the blockade. But there will be a lot more lives lost as a result of the bombing that Israel is expecting to be continuing over Gaza. I mean, we've already seen today what happened in the hospitals. So, I mean, obviously, I think the hospital is a big target to hit. And it could have easily have been avoided. I don't know what they were looking for, what they were looking to hit. So I think it is incumbent on Israel to make sure that the civilian life is not affected
Yes.
by their warfare. And we think they have the right, they keep claiming they have the right to defend themselves. Everybody's got a right to defend themselves, but that doesn't give you carte blanche to go and kill thousands of people.
So one of the key, I suppose, motivating factors that have been attributed for Hamas to be doing this attack, especially now, was because of the closer ties that were building between Israel and Saudi Arabia, and also with the other Arab countries through the Abrahamic Accords as well. And also with the Benjamin Netanyahu, when he went to America and showed the map of Israel without the Gaza and the West Bank in that particular map of Israel. How do you think, I suppose, instrumental was that for Hamas launching their attack?
Well, I can't really read into the minds of people in Palestine why they do some things when they do it. But I think what the root causes of all this things that we're seeing happening in Gaza is actually the denial of the rights of the Palestinians.
Yes.
And that has continued for such a long time.
Yes.
It's not something that's been going on just for the last couple of years.
No.
So it's been going on for many decades. And I think that in itself, you see, I mean, when people are living there, I mean, I went there cycling in 2019. Some young people were saying, well, we have got nothing to look towards. We haven't got a future. We cannot plan our education because every time when we go to a school, to a college or to university, our roads are blocked. It takes us hours. We can never guarantee we will get to our classes in time.
Yes.
So we can't get to the hospitals if we want. I mean, people in Gaza, if they need special treatment, that is restricted as well. So they sometimes have to wait longer than is necessary, and also their disease is such that they need immediate attention, not something that has to wait. So I think those are the things that are fueling everything that we see in Palestine today. But the main culprit has to be the one that is actually controlling and occupying, and that has to end if there has to be peace. I think there can be no peace in that part of the world unless there is justice, and without that justice, there is no.
Yes,
no
and
option.
As the occupying force of Gaza and West Bank, Israel has a responsibility for the treatment and the welfare of all people that are under its stewardship as well. And I fully agree with you, when any community, any group of people lose hope, then you have lost everything. If you don't have any hope in your future for your children, then the question remains, why are we here? What's the purpose of living as well? So everyone must have a bright future for them to continue to be aspiring and improving as well. The other question that comes to my mind, Mr. Malik, is about Mahmoud Abbas, who is the elected member of the Palestinian Authority in West Bank. He has been very quiet as well, unless you can tell me something different.
Well, I mean, I think Biden is likely to meet him when he visits, when he goes to the region tomorrow.
Yes.
The thing with all this is that everybody says, what's happening in Palestine, they have no democracy or anything.
Yes.
But the biggest obstacle to democracy among the Palestinians is not the Palestinians, it's the Israelis.
Yes.
Because they do not allow them to actually conduct that election.
Yes.
They do not allow people to move freely between Gaza and the West Bank. They do not allow people to move freely in East Jerusalem. In fact, they say Palestinians living in East Jerusalem cannot take part in the elections.
And something that I've been quite frustrated also is, Brother Naeem, is the fact that they're saying because of Hamas militancy, it is the reason why we can't negotiate. It is the reason why we can't have a two-state solution, is because they don't want to negotiate. They don't want a two-state solution. But if you look at the West Bank, they have been, subjugated to all kind of suffering and oppression. They haven't resorted to any kind of violent backlash, and they are still suffering. There is no sense of even them being brought to the negotiating table.
Well, what you see happening in the West Bank is on a daily basis, Palestinian homes are being demolished
Yes.
and they're being taken over by the settlers
Yes.
who've come from New Jersey or New York.
Yes.
And in fact, they openly boast that we're going to take this house, this house, this house, and this house.
Yes.
So I think that's happening on a daily basis, and that results in the fact that Palestinians ultimately defend their houses, and they get then there is going to be a repercussion. There's going to be a response to that kind of oppression. I think there are villages in Palestine that are actually completely being destroyed.
Absolutely.
So Gavir has actually asked for a village in Palestine to be
What
completely
it
wiped out.
reminds me of dying by 1,000 cuts on a daily basis. The Palestinians, whether they're in Gaza or West Bank, they are subjugated to all kinds of violence, all kinds of maltreatment, all kinds of their possessions being taken away harshly. They can't go to the law because the law will never rule in their favor. You've got the army, the police, all subjugated to them to some kind of a violation as well. So it is not a ideal position to be in. But I want to also now talk about what's happening here. We've had a number of demonstrations, Brother Naeem. I'm sure you've been part of that. Is now we've had the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, who have now stated that anyone who is seen with a Palestinian flag, anyone who is seen with a Palestinian paraphernalia or something that is representative of Hamas will be charged with a public order offence. And then yesterday she also said anyone who is singing from the river to the sea will be seen as an anti-Semite. What's your immediate thoughts?
Well, I think first of all, she's got it wrong anyway.
Yes.
Because it is still legal to fly a Palestinian flag. It is not illegal to fly.
No, but she wanted that to happen, didn't
she? She will have to change the law if she wanted to do
Yes.
that. And I think even the police authorities have said that they're not going to prosecute people for flying the Palestinian flag. And they have been on the news channels and everything saying that. And I think she is just provoking people, so I would not really pay much attention because she said it's possible to send people to Rwanda, and it isn't. Right. So I think we need to ignore her in that sense. And I think you see what we are doing is organizing demonstrations, which are actually calling for an immediate ceasefire, and then ultimately the resolution of the problem that Palestinians are facing. Give them equal rights, give them justice, and move on from that.
Yes.
And rebuild Palestine, rebuild the Middle East. So I think that's what we would expect. Now I think what we are organizing is there's a demonstration going to be in London on Saturday. We're taking a coach from the Central Mosque at 8:30 in the morning. There are ways you can book your place on the coach, or you can give me a call.
Yes.
So I think that's possible. Then there's also demonstrations taking place in Birmingham because we are not going to take 3,000-4,000 people to London in coaches. It's not going to be possible. And we're planning public meetings, and I think, as you said, there is a protest going to go from Elm Rock. So I think there is so much anger that young people are coming forward and organizing things on their own accord.
No, absolutely.
And they're doing a very good job. I was at a demonstration on Sunday. I think it was about 2,000 to 3,000 people there. They were flying Palestinian flags. They were, there was nothing. No law was ever broken. Nobody was arrested. And they had a march in the city as well.
That's how it should be. Absolutely.
And we had some very good speeches from young people on what's happening in Palestine. They were, they have to be able to come out and see what they feel. And I think that's one of the problems with the councillors, because there is such a strong feeling in the community. The community is traumatized by what's happening. And I think it's you don't have to be a Muslim to be traumatized. You just have to be a human being. Just watch what's happening even on the BBC. The BBC doesn't do it in the same way as Al Jazeera does.
Yes.
But even if you watch BBC, it will actually make you a very, very angry. What's going on.
no, absolutely.
So I think, I know we are activists and we are organizing on behalf of Palestine, but we really don't have to do much, because all the information is coming on the television is actually bringing out the sentiments that are, particularly among the young people. So I think our councils should take account of that, because there is going to be elections, and they need to be on the right side of the history as well.
And your own moral conscience as well. So I fully agree with you. I have at times have had to switch off my radio or my TV because it was very distressing news as well, and it just depresses you. And also, secondly, Brother Naeem, tell us what time is the departure for your coach from Central Mosque. And also, if you wish to leave your contact number or email, then please feel free to do so.
Okay. Well, the coach is going to leave from the Central Mosque at 7:30. But you have to book in advance. And if you text me on my mobile number.
Go ahead.
077 21 427 690. And I'll send you the link for making the booking.
So that's 077 21 427 690.
That's right.
So that is the phone number for Brother Naeem, and he will give you the link. And how much is it for the cost?
Well, we are asking people to pay £15.
Yes.
But if they can't afford, pay whatever you can afford.
Pay whatever, but minimum is about £15, or the maximum.
Well, not minimum.
Sorry, maximum is £15.
No, you can pay more as well.
Okay, yes, if you wish.
I think so somebody has donated me a large number of flags.
Okay.
And I'm selling those to raise the money. I've gone to trade unions, and I think the Birmingham Trades Council has given us, I think, £400 or £500 towards the cost of the coaches. But the coaches are expensive.
So they are expensive. I know they've double, tripled
and there are
over the
other
years.
unions. The National Union of Education has given us some funds, or has promised us some funds. And the Unite Union has also provided us or promised us some funds. So I think financially we are not in a too bad a place, but we need people to help. And we have, some of the mosques are arranging it as well.
Absolutely. And also, Brother Naeem, for those people that are watching, we're now sort of coming towards the end of the show. If they are going to a demonstration, what would your advice be to them?
Well, I think join us in the demonstration, and we can shout, Palestine will be free. There is no problem with that. We can carry the Palestinian flags. There were thousands of Palestinian flags on the demonstration in London, and there were police around, but there were no arrests made on that basis because we were not breaking the law. We were not hurting anybody else. We were just expressing our freedom of speech. We were just expressing our wishes as to what we want for the people of Palestine, because we want to stand by the people of Palestine, and we will not forget the people in Gaza. They will be our concern until they are safe, and they are not safe at the moment. I mean, I think I'm a grandfather and I look after two of my young granddaughters, and I look and I see them. You see, they enjoy so much love. They are completely carefree because they are not worried about anything. Then I see children in Gaza crying, running, completely bewildered as to what's happening around them. It's just unfair.
So I suppose the last final question is, which is, a question I suppose people have been asking for the last 75 years now, is why hasn't there been a lasting peace? We managed to do it in Ireland. We managed to do it in some other parts of the world. But why do we have honest brokers? Do we have motivated stakeholders who are impartial, who want an equal, balanced freedom for both sets of communities? Or do you think there's just not enough will for there to be a lasting peace?
Well, there hasn't been an honest broker for a very, very long time. Okay, because you see, if you look at the United States, the first thing it should have done if it was an honest broker is to ask for a ceasefire.
Yes.
He didn't. He actually said, we stand by you, you do whatever you want.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Britain has done exactly the same. And in fact, it wasn't that long ago, one of the British Prime Minister actually in 2017 said she's very proud of what we have done in Palestine. Okay. So I think so there isn't an honest broker. And maybe this situation will bring about an honest broker.
Yes.
And it is it is a situation. If this continues, peace and justice, if it's not established in Palestine, it will probably have repercussions everywhere else as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. That was Brother Naeem Malik on from West Midlands Palestine Solidarity Campaign, talking about and giving some context about why we find ourselves in this situation and the dire situation that is on the ground in Gaza, and what we can do to play our role in putting the spotlight onto the suffering that is taking place in Gaza as well. So each and everyone, you have the chance for you to write to your local councillors and MPs about the suffering that's taking place and what they can do to hold their elected members accountable as well. The other thing that you can also do is, as Brother Marwan said, is go to protests as well. Wherever you are, big or small, show your voice, make your loud as possible. And also, main thing is, because we are here to be a voice for the Palestinians, stay within the refines of the law. Make sure that you don't cause any kind of public breaches as well. And I must say the first handful of demonstrations across the country have been very peaceful and have been, exemplar of how to conduct a demonstration as well. So I know Brother Naeem is organising one to Marble Arch on Saturday from 8:30 Central Mosque. If you contact the number, which is once again 07721 427 690, and he will send you a link for you to go there. There is a small cost if you are able to afford it, £15. There may be a concession if you aren't able to afford that. There will also be another march on Saturday in Birmingham City Centre around Primark is the initial meeting point around 1 o'clock, and there will be a small little walking demonstration around the city centre with some speeches and finishing at 4 o'clock if you're able to make it. But what is also happening is if it does go ahead, we're just trying to make sure that it is well organised and the police are informed. There will be a meeting at 11:30 here on Government Road, Alam Rock, for there be people to walk from Alam Rock all the way up to city centre to join the larger demonstration. But that's in its early planning as well. So on that note, our thoughts and prayers from Radio Aapki Awaz are from all citizens and residents, whether you are from Israel or from Palestine as well. We don't want to see any kind of suffering, irrespective of your faith, race or religion. We ask the United Nations and other international bodies to play their role as well and to hold any kind of injustice to. We also ask the international countries to be impartial, to be honest brokers, and to ensure that they play an even-handed across the board as well. We will continue to talk about this particular issue, and we hope and pray that it comes to an immediate resolving for all parties concerned, and we pray that there is a long-term peace solution between the Palestinians and also Israel as well. On that note, as always, I like to give my guest a quick summary conclusion. So if you're able to, Brother Naeem, just give your final farewell message to the audience, please.
Well, thank you for listening, first of all, and also continue to hassle your members of parliament, your councillors. Make sure that people in authority hear your voice, because you are shouting quite loudly anyway.
Yes.
But make sure that people in authority listen to it as well, and make sure you hold them accountable if they don't. So, and join us on Saturday if you can, either in Birmingham or in London by coach going from Central Mosque.
Absolutely. That was Brother Naeem and Brother Marwan talking about the situation that we find ourselves in Gaza at the moment. We will continue to talk about this as and when. But next week we have Brother Shiraz Yaqub, who was very poorly last week, wasn't able to make it. So he was going to come and talk about the best of being the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also do some live nasheeds from the studio of Radio Aapki Awaaz. Until next week, God bless, look after yourselves and each other.